Hey everyone, and welcome back to another little review. I'm your host as ever, Peppermint8, joined once more because Morgan seemingly doesn't exist anymore, because he never comes on to actually do one. Joined as ever by my wife, the Obsidian Nook, Petal ASMR, all that good shit. Why don't you say hello?
Hello.
Hello! We're also joined by our little cat, Tiny, who's looking very sassy and is not pleased that I have mentioned her publicly. Ow! And I just got bitten. I fucked around and I found out. To be fair, I think she was just being playful. I don't know why I screamed ow. She didn't even. Oh no, now she's biting immediately. She's biting her playfully.
She's not biting. She's not marks. It's just like.
She's just nibbling. You just made me jump. She was giving nibs. So anyway, we are covering the unfortunately subtitled scary movie Helsing, a film that you enjoyed before whenever you watched it last, whenever that was. How long ago was it? Did you have it on DVD?
I did.
That's a throwback to some of the older reviews where we used to judge it by, oh, would you get it on DVD? But was it when I moved in that you got rid of it, or was it like you had it long before?
It was when you moved. Sorry, it was when you moved in that I let it go. I pulled it out of the drawer for months prior to that. But no, me and my mum had all of the, like date movie, epic movie,
Meet the Spartans.
yeah.
If you're familiar with them type of films, you know they range in quality. All them sort of like parody films of genres and shit. If you've heard any of the other reviews,
We had to let go. Yeah, some of them are undone. I kind of regret letting Stan Helsing go, but the thing is that I've watched it back. There's one particular scene that grosses me out every single time.
Is it the giant cockroach man in the top? That was
I
nasty.
was eating chocolate at the time. I have to tell you to pause it because I know exactly where this was going.
It's not a spoiler. It's such a random scene right near the start of the film that has like no payoff for the rest of it. So yeah, we just wanted to share our thoughts about it like we usually do. It's directed by Bo Zenga, who all I can think about is Bazinga, a gentleman who I'm not familiar with. Apparently, he was in he had a little cameo in this film when they accidentally stumble onto the set of a gay porno, which sounds very random. I do apologise.
There's a lot of unnecessary sexualized film.
Yeah.
And now that you've said it, there's a lot of dress up and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you're familiar with these other style films, like as you say, date movie, epic movie, you'll find it's a lot of just overly sexualizing people. Not just women. I mean, women a lot. I mean, that film is like the epitome of fat equals ugly. But if you lose all the weight, you'll get any man you want. Which is a whole nother story I'm sure we will get into when we cover that film sometime in the future if we can fucking find it anywhere. But yeah, so we'll start off with the mixed bag of comedy that this film has going for it. It's packed with a lot of the silly slapstick humour that you're used to with the later scary movies in particular, when the comedy just became a bit shit once the Wayans left. It's just a bit like, it's just all that like over the top, loud equals funny humour.
I feel like the one.
He did carry the film because the rest of the cast was a bit. Eh.
The other male dude was trying to.
He was trying a bit too hard. It was awkward, really. So yeah, it's basically just a lot of slapstick humor, weird situations that are just thrown in for no reason. Like how, like I mentioned, the random gay porn shoot. No idea what the fuck that was on about. The random hot vampire women that just had their tits out for the sake of it.
Correctly, there were two shots where there was just two random pictures thrown in. I remember you throwing your hands up being like...
They were opening the doors, weren't they, in the house? And there was just like stock footage of a shark like jumping out, and they're just like, nope. And I was like, what's the fucking point? This whole film was a big what the fuck.
I think if it's alright to watch if you want to laugh or you're drunk. But...
It's one of them films where you just want to switch your brain off and just not think about it like at all, because it's just fucking stupid. It's like, we've covered most of the scary movies now, and like we said with those, the first two are brilliant because of how clever they are, but 3 and 4 just became what this film is, where it's just like random bullshit thrown in for the sake of it, which is a shame because it could have had a lot going for it. It could have been a like scary movie. I feel like they wanted to make a scary movie, but they weren't able to for budget reasons or whatever. It's just dumb. There are a few moments where we like chuckled, but I just didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
I was hoping that, because I love these silly fucking like parody films. I'm a big fan. Well, we covered Top Secret a while ago. It's one of them films where it's funny, but it's not trying overly hard to be funny. Like Airplane as well. We're covering Airplane at some point, and Naked Gun, those sorts of films. Saying that, when you've got like Leslie Nielsen, who's in this film, who we've also seen in scary movies, who is absolutely fucking wasted in this film, and is for some reason dressed up as a woman, like an old woman, and this is one of his last roles as well. It's just a bit like, wow, they could have had him. I don't know if it's because he was getting old, although he always seems like he's been like 70. It's just a shame that he was just like there as a background character, as opposed to like having a more prominent role. If we move on to the likes of the villains of the film, the very cheap knockoffs of like your horror movie villains, like your monsters, I should say, like Jason, Michael Myers. Michael Myers was just wearing a Michael hat, Michael mask.
Oh my god, his mask was terrible.
It was terrible. It looked worse. Like, there is, in one of the sequels, I think they used a CGI mask in Halloween for whatever reason. It looks awful. We will cover that sequel eventually. There is just a lot of those films. But the knockoffs looked stupidly cheap. It's like Jason was literally a hockey player, and there was a joke where they beat the shit out of a child because he resembled him, and then they just get like jumped by kids. Oh, stupid. I'd like to say they were good, but they were just cheap. Like, they weren't even that good of a parody where it's like their appearance was funny because it's like, oh, they are like, you can tell what you can tell what they're a parody of anyway, but it's not like a good parody where it's like, oh, a play on words or something. It's just like, I just don't get it. It's like, for some reason, Leatherface, instead of a chainsaw, has a plug-in leaf blower, and his mask is like a Gucci handbag. I just don't get it. I've just seen too many of these like parody films where I'll just become numb to dumb shit like that. I mean, unfortunately, if we move on to just talking about the plot real quick, there is no real story to it. It's just like, we have monsters in our town. Get rid of them, please.
When gotta admit, they were really, like, what's your weakness?
It was really pathetic.
They didn't do much. It was just like, oh, you know, Chucky, you're a doll. Like, throw you in there and kick you out.
Kick him out a fucking window.
What was the one with all the dark things in his head? And
Who had like darts and shit in his head.
basically pushed them into his skull and he...
Yeah. I think Michael Myers, they do something to him and he just leaves. He just walks out. No, Freddy, knock off Freddy Krueger. What do they do to him? Don't they just take his glove off and he just leaves? He just runs away crying.
I think he saw what happened to the others.
No, he was the first to go. Because he literally, like, begs for his life, and I think they just take his glove off and he fucking runs away crying. It's just... they have this big... The whole thing is just like, we need to get rid of the monsters. And then they basically just beat the monsters by being like, you're not scary, huh? After having a karaoke match against them. With some very badly dubbed singing, may I add. It's just... It's there if you just, like we said at the top, it's just one of them films where you just need to turn your brain off and just have a drink, many drinks, because a lot of this is just like, what? Although, like I said, it did have some jokes which were funny, but a lot of it was just like the most random bullshit they could think of thrown into a film. Which is a shame, considering that it could have lived up to the likes of Scary Movie. But it just... God, it was just crap, to be honest. I'm sad that it's a film that you used to quite like, that unfortunately is just if it... I just don't like it. Because I wanted to like it because it's a parody of horror, but unfortunately it was just like... You know? It's the best way I can probably put it. But it's good for light-hearted, silly fun. If you're pissed or high, mainly high for people in America. But other than that,
don't insult. They're not the only nation.
Oh, I said high, not pissed. But there's places in the US where like drugs are weed is legal and that. Cool.
I've never had.
I've never had weed. Yes, I do the drugs.
I don't.
Anyway, so that about sums it up, unfortunately. It's just a bit... I just found it a bit disappointing, to sum it up. There's just a lot of stuff that... I feel like if this was a few years earlier, I would have found it funny. It had some jokes.
I asked you and then you were like, oh.
It had some jokes, but where I actually did sort of chuckle, but there was no point where I was like cackling with laughter. But yeah, that about sums it up, unfortunately. I wish there was more to say, but it's just a bit of a weird film. She actually spoke in a video for once, guys. Anyway, so that about sums it up. Thank you ever so much for listening. I've been your host as ever, Purple Midnight 8, joined by the Obsidian Nook, Pale ASMR, all that good stuff. You can find her links in the description alongside all of mine, and we will see you next time.
Don't bother with the Pale ASMR, just go to the Obsidian Nook. I will need some more love, okay?
Okay, well you can do that. That's got more gaming and book stuff if you're interested in that. But yeah, thank you ever so much for listening, and we will see you very soon because we have another film that we have lined up to do. So yeah, we'll see you soon.